Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now, the winter is the perfect time for the intentionally well-dressed man to demonstrate his mastery of the versatility which he has accrued into his wardrobe. It is a time of year where we get to layer our clothing and put wonderful classic outerwear on, which is a clear example of how we have curated a wardrobe of classical clothing which makes us look great and also is incredibly practical. The sort of things I'm talking about today have been keeping men warm and dry for generations. And they should do in the generations ahead. Now today I am going to talk about a number of items which are in my winter wish list. Now if you're a chap starting off on your journey as an intentionally well-dressed man and you don't have any of these items yet, well, take it as an opportunity to bring things into the collection as they cross your path in thrift stores, charity shops, or gifts from relatives and friends. But these are the items which I have on my winter wish list and I wouldn't be without. Now the first thing you need to bring into that winter wardrobe is of course a woolen overcoat. I say woolen, gentlemen, let us stay away from man-made fibres. They simply don't do the job anywhere like as good as wool or cashmere or blends of those. Now I've built up a collection of overcoats that meet that criteria from charity stores, thrift shops, auction sites, because they are sold these days for pennies on the pound of their actual original price, and they offer amazing quality. They're an investment, but they will give you decades and decades of service. And they are wonderful, not only for looking great, for demonstrating your command of classic style, but also there's nothing better at keeping you warm. Now get one which goes way beyond the knee, such as I am wearing now. Nice, snuggly, it's like wearing a warm woolen blanket on the coldest of days. I guarantee they are warmer than many of these modern performance fabrics. The other thing I recommend, choose a flexible colour, something like grey as I am wearing, or navy. The reason we go for these is because it goes with all other colours. Whether you're wearing a charcoal grey suit, a navy suit, a brown suit, green suit, doesn't matter. Navy and grey goes with everything. It allows it to be flexible across the entirety of your wardrobe. And don't forget, it doesn't have to be for just formal clothing. You can wear much more casual clothing under your overcoat and you'll get the most value for your investment from it. So for me, number one on my winter wish list, a woolen overcoat. Now the next item that I am never without in any winter time, and that is a good woolen sweater or jumper or whatever you choose to call them wherever you happen to be in the world. But for me, a chunky sweater, be it a Fair Isle sweater or a cable knit sweater, I just love the enveloping, warming feeling of a woolen sweater in the winter time. They can be layered under much more formal clothing, maybe a tweed jacket, or just wear them themselves as an outer garment in the not so cold days. But they say a lot about you because they offer you the opportunity to show to the world a bit of colour, a bit of texture, a bit of pattern, and it's just an opportunity for expression of your character and personality at the same time as staying warm. Now they are expensive. Good woolen sweaters are not cheap, but remember, it's an investment in the long term because they can last for year after year, keeping you warm and snugly in the coldest period. So for me, sweaters, number two on my winter wish list. Now the number three item on my winter wish list is something that keeps the extremities warm, and that is a good pair of leather gloves. Again, I say leather. I emphasize leather. I am not talking about some sort of neoprene or some sort of man-made waterproof super duper material. Leather, natural materials, is really what classic style is built around. Now, I'm wearing a nice pair of black leather gloves because it keeps my hands warm. So much better than walking around all day with your hands in your pockets, shivering when you need to do something with your hands. A nice pair of leather gloves works nicely. I've gone for a black pair. A brown pair is also useful to have in the collection. And remember, there are different thicknesses of glove for the different times of year. These are an unlined pair of leather gloves. They give me maximum dexterity for the fingers, for driving and doing things with my hands. But when it gets a lot colder, I will swap over to a pair of leather gloves which are lined with sheepskin. Beautiful, insulated and warm. Still maintaining that classic style, yet keeping me warm at the coldest time of year. So don't go without those gloves. Don't be the hands in the pockets guy. Leather gloves makes you look stylish and refined. Now the next item on my list is an essential if you live in a temperate climate like I do here in the UK, where in the winter we get more rain, we often get snow, sleet, the pavements are slick. I need footwear which will keep me safe and give me good traction. So from around about October, I take a great deal of pleasure in digging out my boot collection and putting my dress shoes away. And I love my boots to be robust, rugged and absolutely gorgeous to look at as well. Now for me, I favour a brogue boot because I like the texture, the pattern and that extra flair which comes with having something interesting on your footwear. But equally, you could go for a cap toe Oxford, a Chelsea boot, a chucker boot, whatever floats your boat, but go for something with a robust rubber sole. You can have a commando sole, you can have a day-night sole, but certainly you want something that's going to give you grip and traction when the pavement gets a little slippery. And let's be honest, if you get a nice leather one, it doesn't detract from the appearance of your footwear. Nobody really knows that you're wearing boots because they can't tell, yet you still get all that added protection up beyond the ankle and that great grippy sole. So for me, a boot is my essential footwear choice during these winter months. Now my next choice is the quintessential jacket or coat which men wear in the cooler months. I'm wearing one now under my overcoat. It is a tweed sports jacket, chosen by men for generations for its many practical qualities. It's said to be somewhat thorn-proof when you're pushing through the undergrowth, and it's made of a thick wiry wool which keeps you warm and insulated. But in this modern world, tweed has become the perfect accompaniment for the intentionally well-dressed man, because in most business situations, anybody wearing a jacket at all, regardless of what type of jacket it is, would be classed as being well dressed. So the tweed jacket, offering as it does texture, pattern and style and colour, tweed is often made of these earth colours that we see this time of year, it's an absolute utter wearable in any business situation. But also it transcends easily into casual attire, whether you're going to the bar for a few drinks with friends, or whether you're going to something a little more formal, a dinner party or something of that nature. Tweed has become the Swiss Army knife of the gentleman's clothing wardrobe. So don't let it pass you by. Winter is the perfect time to put that layer of tweed insulation between you and the outside world. So gentlemen, I think you can guess what I'm about to talk about. A good hat is a close friend in the winter months, where a lot of your body heat escapes through the top of your head, particularly if you're somewhat bereft of hair, such as myself. So a hat is worth bringing out into the world to keep you warm and also dry if a bit of snow or rain comes your way as well. Now today, because I'm somewhat formally attired, I've opted for a somewhat formal hat. The bowler hat, also known as the Coke hat. It's a perfect hat, actually, in the modern world. Rarely seen, but very, very stylish. It definitely turns heads, but it's practical, it is tough, it is robust, and it can weather the storms that you're likely to encounter in the modern world. But I know what you're thinking. It's a little too formal for me. I'm not the sort of guy who can get around in life wearing one of those. Don't be the guy who wears a baseball cap right? The ubiquitous headwear of the modern world. There's a middle ground. And it is, in fact, the flat cap. The flat cap occupies an area today which is appropriate to wear in classical attire, like my overcoat right now. My black Kangol flat cap looks rather smart. Yet, I could equally wear this with much more casual clothing, but it affords me the same level of protection that my bowler hat does. So don't think, just because you're a modern guy and you don't want to wear a dress hat of some kind, like a Homburg or a Trilby or a bowler hat, hats are off the table. No, the flat cap is your friend, or its close relative, the Baker Boy cap. If you like the Peaky Blinders look, the Baker Boy cap is also something which you could employ in your hat wardrobe. But for me, it's the bowler, the flat cap, and I'm sorted for these winter months. Now, the next accessory I absolutely would not be without in these winter months, because it is both practical as well as stylish, is the cashmere scarf. I emphasize the word cashmere. Nothing man-made here. Cashmere derived from the hair from a goat which lives up in the mountain, makes the most beautiful soft woolly material which feels wonderful against the skin and is totally warming. I know what you're saying, it's expensive. Yes, it is. All right, this scarf cost about £60, but it is going to last me for decade after decade. I'll pass it on to my kids. And because of that, I don't mind making an investment in something which offers colour, texture, pattern, exactly what you need when you're wearing what one might argue are quite bland outer clothing in the winter months. A very ordinary grey overcoat needs something to jazz it up. Yes, I've gone for a boutonniere today, but the scarf adds that little bit of extra colour and texture which brings life to it. And of course, because it is a natural material, it's not going to leave fluff everywhere like a cheap man-made scarf. So it's worth the little bit more of an investment, because believe me, when you've gone cashmere, you will never go back to man-made fabrics. Now, the final thing on my winter wish list is actually not a wearable, it's a carryable, and it is my leather weekender bag. Because at this time of year, I find myself carrying so many other things. I've got my thick winter gloves, I've got my folding umbrella for those days when I get caught out in a little bit of rain, and everything else will be in here. My scarf, my hat, my laptop computer, the bits and pieces, my journal, my pen. I carry so much more in the winter months than in the warmer time of year, because I need to be prepared for the environment which I face. And I don't like carrying a backpack around. It's a young man's game, a kid's game. For me, a gentleman carries a leather valise. It is classy, it is elegant. There's a lot more room in here than a typical briefcase. It allows me, if I need to pack a spare shirt, maybe a number of other items if I have to go away for a weekend unexpectedly. But a leather valise is an essential in the winter months, because it allows me to bring all my necessaries around with me and be prepared for any unexpected situation. So there we go, folks. You've been through my winter wish list of the items which, as an aspiring, intentionally well-dressed man, I like to carry around with me to keep me warm, to keep me stylish, to keep me looking good, as well as being practical for the situations I will face in this changeable weather period of the year. I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I carry around and wear around. If I've missed something which you think is essential, let me know in the comment section below. If you'd like to ask me a question about anything I've said today, drop me an email. I'm the only person who reads those emails. No judgment, just me. Ask me anything. If you've enjoyed the video, I'd ask you to like it and subscribe for future videos of this nature. And if you'd like to support the channel, you could buy me a coffee, one-off thing, or for a tiny, tiny monthly sum, you could be a member of my Chap's Guide community on my Patreon page, where you will get extra video content every week and a personal dialogue with me directly. So, until the next time, gentlemen, be ready for the winter months by logging into my winter wish list, and be prepared. And I'll see you very soon.